to us, we are going to do things to you that have never been done before.
We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route to do. We the people are free. And I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited.
Well, g'day, folks. How are you? Hope you're having a very nice Tuesday. If you're still on holidays, good luck to you. Been a beautiful day here in southeast Queensland. Lovely day to go fishing if that's what you're up for, or maybe just spending it at the beach because it was one of those warmish type days where you get sweaty in places you'd probably prefer not to. So I hope you've all had a great new year. I know we've only seen each other once so far this year, but life gets in the way, you know how things are, and things with the hand. Well, I thought I'd be able to give you good news today, but unfortunately I bring you a woeful tale of ineptitude and excuse. Turned up at the place to go and get my x-rays done, and I had a series of 3 different sorts of x-rays to get, 2 on this, including an ultrasound, an x-ray, and 1 on my head, and getting my teeth looked at. And they sent me an appointment time of 2:50, which I turned up at, but apparently should have been there at 2:20, and they couldn't do the ultrasound. This is the same mob that told me on the day I went to the doctor to find out what I've done here, told me that they couldn't do the x-ray without doing the ultrasound because the doctor likes to take them both at the same time. I said, yeah, but I might have broken my thumb. And he said he's going on holidays, got 4 hours to sort of look at it. Can you help? Oh, but they like to do it together. So she couldn't help. I've spent, I don't know, near enough to a week re-breaking this every other day because that's what it feels like I'm doing. And went today and they've screwed it up yet again. I'm staggered. And then they offered to do the x-ray part without the ultrasound part. I didn't understand why all of a sudden today it could be done, whereas the other day it couldn't be done. So suffice to say, I didn't get any x-rays done. And I'm not completely sure that I would ever go back there. That would depend because I've made rather lengthy complaint. Oh, I was angry. So, look, I'm all for giving kids a job and, you know, sticking them at the front door and making them your receptionist. But, oh, my God. They do need a duty of care. They need to be sort of told there is some flexibility if not all the boxes get ticked. And if there isn't flexibility, then I guess, and I'm told that there is now. So there is, or there isn't, there is. But at any rate, my hand's still like this. My thumb doesn't move beyond that distance. And the weird thing is, moving it like that hurts like buggery, but I can push this over and bend it and it doesn't hurt at all. So it's all to do with whatever's going on in here and down the inside of my thumb and into the palm of my hand. And I'm frankly a bit annoyed about it. That'll tell you. I'm pretty confident it's a throwback to when I broke my wrist and something I did then. So don't think it's ever actually truly been fixed. Speaking of something that's never truly been fixed, the Waving Wonder has many things that he needs fixed in his life. Another trip to the Gold Coast might be one of them, potentially to see the beach during the daylight.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, we're not going to make extravagant promises, but you know there might be a good chance that you'll get a go. I'd love to see you. How are you feeling, big fella? Happy New Year to you.
And you, mate, and you. Even though we've chatted behind the scenes a bit, but yeah,
we have.
Beautiful weather down this way. 41 today, 45 tomorrow. We're doing great.
Well, you've got the Murray River 2 streets away. I mean, you can go down and put your finger or your feet in the water there. That's quite nice.
Could do. I should really call on Kim Hanton, get him to bring his jet ski down to go for some fun on that.
Oh, so what you're telling me is you will not get seasick on a jet ski, but you will on a cruise liner.
Yep.
I just think you're a sook.
I'm not going to deny that either.
Hey, I was in at Ainslie Bullion yesterday, and I was talking to Matt. He's their crypto guy, and he is very keen to come on your show and have a bit of a chat about crypto and bullion. Ainslie have, and I think you might have gone through this in a show recently. They've got a way that you can trade crypto for bullion, or vice versa. You can trade the bullion that you have.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's an unallocated stack, and you can just simply send them an email, and it will be traded as you say or see fit. So I just thought, you and Matt might be worthwhile getting together for CoinSpot on FBN, and I'll see if I can line that up for you.
I do actually have to do that. I actually, on the CoinSpot show I did on Sunday night, I went through and showed how, on CoinToss, not CoinSpot, but I went and showed how you can purchase crypto in a tokenized form, silver and gold in a tokenized form. And I need to actually get in touch with Matt to do the next step. How do we get that to come across to Ainslie? So, that's exactly what I want to do this week, so I can show it next week's show.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure I can sort that out for you. And it would be quite interesting, given that at the moment, people have invested reasonably in crypto. I know people who have spent, quite some thousands of dollars in crypto, and they're looking at what's going on now at the silver market and saying, maybe it's time to get, even Bitcoin being as low as it is, time to get some of that out and throw it into silver. I don't think they have yet, and they will be encouraged to have seen that it's gone up something like 10,000 US overnight.
I actually haven't looked at that today. Let me just go and grab that. Yeah, it's 93.2 US at the moment, which means that it was down around the 84 mark, so it's about $9,000.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, that's great, but it's not this, is it?
I know, it's because I changed charts on here. So just hang on, let me pull that back together. Right, so last Friday night I drew a chart, right? And I showed about a bull flag, right? And I said my guess is it's going to do this.
Yeah.
How good was it? How good a guess was that? Have a look at that. Right.
I think your guess is pretty spot on, wasn't it?
Well, that was what I would call a fluke. People, do not take this as financial advice. But I guess that's probably what it would do. And when I looked at the chart today, I went, holy shit.
Exactly what it's done. And let's just see how long
for the year.
Let's just see how long it extends up that little yellow line that you drew. Because, well, at the moment,
to be fair, I didn't get that accurate. Right?
Well,
I was right to about there. This is the 4-hour chart, and then I said it would drop down a little bit, which it did drop.
Yeah.
Right, but it took off a bit quicker than I expected. But even still, so woohoo! And the beauty about that, those tokenized items that I bought on Sunday night were at the old silver price. So I have made money on them today.
Well, anybody who turned up at Ainslie or turned up at ainslebullion.com.au over the break, over the Christmas New Year break, and ordered online, those orders are beginning to be fulfilled as of yesterday when their whole team got back. And when I say their whole team, they dragged out staff who haven't worked in the office for 18 months, who've retired, because it has been the busiest trading time in Ainslie Bullion's history. That 2 weeks between Christmas and when they've reopened again here on the 5th of January have been the busiest period in their history. It is quite staggering. I've been asked a lot of questions about what happens with Ainslie and their unallocated silver and all that sort of stuff. Will they be able to get silver stock? Quite a few different questions. So I was in at Ainslie Bullion yesterday. One of you folks, we tried to link up and help out together. Instead, it was just very busy. Oh, Vince is off. It was just very busy, and we sort of waved at each other in the waiting room before I got called in. But I was able to sit down with Michael and have a chat with him, Michael Engerman, the CEO of Ainslie Bullion. We didn't film it. It was just a off-camera chat. But I did bring up a couple of the questions that you guys have fired into me. So, firstly, with Ainslie Bullion, they have the bullion on hand, or if they don't have it, they have guarantees of having it for you within a certain time frame. Now, some people have made orders of things online and discovered when they've gone in to collect them that it has been made unavailable for collection. That is because the office has been going through all of the online orders as well, and the website updating wasn't being updated during the off-time period as often, I don't think, as it is during a normal working period. So that started again yesterday morning. Now, all of the things that have a little red exclamation point beside them will tell you where the particular product is or is not available, or how much of it you have to buy to get that sort of a certain price. I think that's what's happening with platinum at the moment. I think the minimum buy on platinum is $5,000. So you'll get those little pop-ups that'll give you that sort of information. Now, some people have ordered kilos of silver that were available online when they ordered it, but they've gone to collect it and it wasn't available. Unfortunately, that's just been how the orders online have rounded out, and more deliveries are certainly coming. And I believe there were deliveries yesterday. There's more deliveries today. And I'm also of the belief that the maximum wait time for orders to be fulfilled online will be 3 weeks. And I'm guessing that will be for some of the bigger bars. There is no supply problem with Ainslie Bullion. Okay. Michael wanted me to make that very clear. There is no supply problem with Ainslie Bullion. I asked him, obviously the Perth Mint provides a lot of Ainslie product to a lot of bullion dealers around the country. But Ainslie also have a great deal of their own product. They use their own different folks to make those. They're based in Queensland. Now, there is no problem with that refiner and that minter doing whatever they need to do. That will be done. No problem getting silver to them, at least at the moment, to make things like the Ainslie rounds. Or to make 1 kilo Ainslie bars. So they're in the process of those bars being made at the moment. But because demand is so high across such a broad range, they can only make so many a day. And they're trying to cover off quite a few things. So work with them, not against them. And Ainslie will have your order to you, I am sure, well within the stated time frame. But they're saying it will be a maximum of 3 weeks before all the orders are fulfilled over Christmas. So bear with us. Also, if you are going into Ainslie at the moment and it's still not a bad time to buy, even though you might be saying and looking at the price, like last night when you went to bed, it was around $108. Today, when you woke up, it was sort of 108, maybe 109, went to 110, went back to 108, down to 107. In the last couple of hours, it's been rallying. Right now, it's sitting at 116.50. And that is pretty much right on par with what they're telling us out of Wall Street that the price of silver should be. If you turn that into US dollars, it's 78.34, the spot price. So there has been, in the last 3 to 4 days, something in the vicinity of $500 billion put into the stock market to keep it propped up, keep it alive, and keep the scheme seemingly running. It's going to run out real soon. Those companies are going to go broke trying to throw money into that sort of a black hole. Silver looks like, and a lot of talk is about it going higher and going much higher at that. $150 an ounce is not to be sneezed at in the near future. That's just my observations, and given what I've been looking at in the background and reading and listening to, that's just my observations. Not beyond the realms of possibility. We'll see $150 for an ounce of silver in the near future, and that $200 an ounce US. They are still predicting it before February, or during February, I should say. So if that were to happen, that's going to put, what, 320, 340 Australian an ounce. People will starting to be pretty happy with that. And if you've got a few ounces, it's about that time I suggest you might want to consider having a chat with Ainslie and swapping some of your silver for gold, because gold is not going to be staying where it is. It is obviously going to go up. How much will it go up? Well, there was talk yesterday. A couple of people that I spoke to yesterday believe that $10,000 an ounce is not out of the realms of possibility before the end of this month. So you might take your profits in silver and spin them over into gold, and then keep them in gold for a little while before dropping some of that back into silver and watching silver skyrocket again. This is going to be a very interesting year, very interesting rocky ride for those folks invested in shares and stocks and bonds and all that sort of stuff. For those of you that actually have the metal in your hand, it's a pretty relaxing time. Don't sell unless you absolutely positively have to. Do not sell for cash. If you are going to shift your silver into something else, shift it into gold or shift it into platinum, which is also doing very well. That's just my advice. I don't offer financial advice, and God, if you listen to me, you're out of your mind. But that's sort of what I'm thinking about doing at some point when things get up. Oh, there's a big downward slope. What are we looking at there? Oh, is that gold?
Yes, that's the gold-silver ratio going down.
That's exactly what we want to see. So what is it saying it is at the moment? Because I can't read that screen, and if I blow it up, I'll lose me.
Yeah, that's right. 56.82 or thereabouts.
56. That's a figure. That's a figure. Keep watching.
Big difference from up here in November 25.
Oh,
it was
wow.
above 80. Okay.
Wow, that's only November. Wow.
Yep, that's only November.
Yeah.
So it's dropped from 82.6 down to 56 something.
Well, it was over 100 there back in October too, I think it was, or September maybe. So
89.
Up at 100.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Hang on, let's go back. 107 back in April of 25.
Yeah, so April of 25, the gold-silver ratio was 107 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, which would have put the price at maybe, I don't know, $40, I'm guessing. But, yeah. But look at that steady sort of constant downward motion since then. And in the last couple of weeks,
pretty quick there.
my word, that's a roller coaster ride you wouldn't mind being on, is it?
Mm.
So
Anyway,
the advice that I have, the advice that I have from people who offer advice in these sorts of things and have much more experience, they're the ones suggesting to hang on to your silver for as long as you can, but you want to be looking at a number somewhere in the low 40s, low to mid 40s before you do that swap. Pardon me. And if you do that swap, be prepared to do the juggle again at another stage, because it will behoove you to do so. There is some good money to be made, and it's about time the good people started making it rather than the friggin' banks, who right now are squealing like the proverbial stuck pigs that they are. I think it's just beautiful. Okay, let's get on to some of the things that we're going to be chatting about today. It looks like Albo is going to cave. There has been some private talk that he's going to do a backflip and introduce a royal commission into what happened at Bondi. Now, that is because his own party is now, members of his own party are attacking him over it. He's being attacked by national sporting stars over it. This is the time of year where Australian sport on an international stage is critical to our political heads, as you know, a way of looking like they're part of the people. Albo can't go to the cricket at the SCG because I think he'll be booed senseless should he go there. It would be more of a distraction. It won't be just a booing. It will be an active, very active, constant heckle. And he wants to go to the Australian Open tennis with his new wife because, well, don't they all turn up at the tennis? So he can't turn up at the tennis, and this would be the final, of course, because they don't turn up to the, you know, just the early matches. They have to turn up to the final. So if they turn up to the final and Rod Laver Arena erupts into chants, jeers, heckles, basically Albo becomes a distraction on a global scale. And is he up for that sort of public humiliation? I don't think so. How do you swap that? Well, just before you go to the tennis, you announce that you've had a bit of a rethink over the break, and yes, it's probably better that we have a royal commission, that my government will set the terms and conditions for. Now, the terms of reference in a royal commission are very strict, and very smart minds put together those terms of restriction, because that's really what they are, and the government just signs off on them. But the lawyers who put that together are top-notch, and they do it with a view to protecting the government of the day's position. So the Royal Commissioner may inquire into anything that he or she likes within the terms of reference. So even if Albo does do a flip, our very sincere following of what he does should not be, we shouldn't stop looking over his shoulder, because those terms of reference will be the most important parts of any royal commission. And I am pretty confident that those even within the Labor Party that are encouraging him for a royal commission are only doing so because they know their lawyers are going to be able to set those terms of reference and hopefully save a lot of public humiliation because of the inaction, the ineptitude, or the outright lies that the Labor government have been perpetrating against the people of this country. I really do hope that it's allowed to go forward. It would be amazing if it could. Now, a little while ago, I had 2 channels taken off me, 2 of the YouTube channels, because I was talking about the Irish Citizens Army, the ICA. I have another video of the ICA, but I will not play it. Instead, what I'll do is put up there, or it's a screenshot from it. And this is a good sign. There's no guns in the picture and they're shaking hands. Doesn't that look good? Well, the people shaking hands are members of the ICA. If you're unaware of what the ICA is, it is a new Irish organisation based on Citizens Army, an Irish Citizens Army. Now, the Irish have had quite a few armies in their day, dating back to many in old history. But most recently, people would remember the IRA. Now, pardon me, the IRA haven't been active probably for 20 years or more. But I remember growing up, and every other day you heard of a bomb going off somewhere in Northern Ireland, or some sort of perceived attack on the royal family by the IRA. Ulster, the Ulster Constabulary, were caught up in a whole heap of very nasty business, which many of the police officers, I think, went to trial and did time for. It was a very nasty confrontation, a civil action between the IRA and the UK, the British forces on the ground in Ireland. Now, the Proddies and the Catholics have united under one banner called the Irish Citizens Army. And they've made a very, very clear statement, particularly with reference to immigration. This statement wasn't made with guns in the background. It was made under balaclava, but it wasn't made with guns in the background, and it wasn't made with fierce threats of violence or anything like that. It was a very subtle, very well written, very well presented dialogue that outlined what the Irish Citizens Army would do to help the government make better decisions for the Irish people. Thought that was a great way of putting it. We're going to help the Irish government find better ways to make decisions, better decisions for the Irish people. The Irish are standing up. Now, how they choose to stand up and what they choose to do when they stand up is their business. But I raise it because isn't it about time we did? The only thing that's going to stop this is the people. This friggin' madness of the elbow sleazy government and the madness that would be a liberal national government. I'm not sure how much madness there would be, a certain level, in Pauline and co. if One Nation were to be able to form government. And let's face it, do we really think voting works? I know Vince will say we've got to give it a go, and I can understand that argument. I can understand that argument. But where do we draw the line in the sand? Is it this time with Pauline? Okay, this time, Pauline, we're going to get the nation behind you. This time, we're going to give you the chance to lead the nation, the very best chance to lead the nation. And we actively get behind her. We actively help promote One Nation. We shake babies, kiss hands, and pump all things shiny in the name of One Nation, leading up. And we're talking about for the next 2 years. This is a lot of momentum we not only have to keep going, but we have to grow. Think of it like a snowball rolling down a 2-year-long hill. We want to pick up as many people as possible. And then what happens if Pauline doesn't get in? What happens if she doesn't get enough people into either house to make a difference. What happens then if we have some real questions about how the voting was done, where the votes were counted, how the votes were counted? I mean, are we going to get a result under 2 hours? I mean, I think we beat that record last time round, didn't we? They had a result in an hour and a half or something. It's not possible to call those sorts of results in an hour and a half. Would the people then start to ask questions about how rigged is the voting? And if Pauline and all the support we can muster to get behind her wasn't able to crack the algorithm and wasn't able to beat them at their own game, we're going to be having this conversation in through to 2.5 years' time, saying, well, how did Albo or Plibisek or whatever wankers running the Liberal Party get elected? And my guess is it'll be Andrew Hastie. It won't be Lay. It'll be Andrew Hastie going to the next election, leading the Liberal Nats. Have no doubt about it. Don't know that I'd support him. Don't think he's very honourable, which is not good for a man who I would ordinarily hold in very high respect, given his service for this country. But I have no respect for the man. Absolutely dishonoured all his good efforts when he served in this nation by telling lies about another. One day we'll have that story. I'd love to tell, I'd love to tell you all about it. But there are things playing out in that story, and that story refers to Ben Roberts-Smith and what's been going on with him. There's a lot of shit going down in the background, and I think Ben quite rightly just wants to keep his head down, stay out of the way. There's people calling for him to get a pardon. Well, I don't think he's ever been charged criminally with anything. He was found guilty in what I would call a shithouse theatre trial, a civil trial, and nothing else. There was no criminal trial, so there's nothing to pardon him from, sadly. But our justice system certainly needs a lot of work, because what they've done is screw him and his family right up. Hey, look, maybe you haven't got anything to do on the weekend of the 24th, 25th and 26th. I know March for Australia is happening on the 26th in capital cities and towns around the nation. You might choose to be doing that. But if you are in southeast Queensland, maybe you're in central Queensland, why don't you meet halfway at the Burra Gully Bush Camp? It's the My Place get-together. It was meant to happen before Christmas, but turns out everybody was busy. Here we go. We're having a crack at it over the Australia Day long weekend. So I saw a message today that says there will be lots of things happening on the 24th, 25th, and on the 26th, which is the Monday. So if you would like to go along, you can get a contact with the Burra Gully Bush Camp. The My Place Queensland camp out for 2025 should be crossed out. I haven't got a new poster for 2026. There is a new poster. I just haven't uploaded it. So it should be a great few days to get together and get to know people in the My Place community. God love them. They are some of the best people I have come across in this wonderful nation of ours as I trek across it, and wouldn't have it any other way. And I mean that. Many of you watching are friends that I've made through the My Place experience. Tony. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Tony came to us at the My Place in Frankston in the early days. I might be wrong, but we didn't really catch up or meet and probably hang out properly until, I guess, Wickety this time last year in Victoria. So there's him. There's so many of you. But, Tony's now turned into our freelance cameraman running around Victoria, driving, 9 hours a day to trek out into the bush to take live video for us. So can't thank him enough, and can't thank you guys enough for being part of all of this. It really really does make me feel proud that we have such a warm, wonderful, helping, caring, sharing family. And I'm not going to go into it, but there are many of you watching now who have been helped or who do help many others of you who are watching now in so many ways, whether it is just the conversation you have, whether it's lending a helping hand in some way, whether it's just being there to have you as someone to bounce off in this chat tonight. So I'm just immensely proud of the family you have created. I just give you a place to hang out. It's very obvious to me to watch when I go back and read through the comments. It's hard for me to follow them, particularly as my glasses at the moment are, maybe if I was wearing the other ones, too difficult to find. Too difficult for me to read at the moment. I'm hopeful. Geez, let's hope the bloody glasses people are better sorted than the people who do x-rays. I'm hopeful of getting my eyes tested on Friday, and you will see new glasses in my future because I've been having all hell's trouble seeing shit recently. So these ones I think are about 3 or 4 years old, and I've sat on them twice. And my readers are bent so far out of shape, I'm amazed I see anything through them. So, thoughts on cheap places to get glasses, particularly frames. I hate paying a shitload of money for frames, mainly because I have a friend who works in the importing frame business, and they pay about $40 for a frame, and then they charge you $400 for it. It's an unpleasant business. Speaking of unpleasant businesses, the bomb. Now, interesting headline here says that the bomb wasted 96 million of our dollars. Pardon me, 96 million of our dollars in that whole website debacle that blew out last year. Do you remember how bad that website turned? Well, $96.5 million for that redesign. But it gets better. Turns out that the redesign was part of an overall redesign of their entire system, which overran in cost a little bit to $800 million. $800 million to deliver a website that could have been drawn by a 6-year-old with a decent set of blue and green crayons. How is that allowed to happen? How is the bureaucracy allowed to waste that kind of money, deliver a completely unsuitable result, which is still running as far as I'm aware? I think they may have switched on certain, particularly for wave action and wave heights, they may have switched on a few of those sensors again, but I don't think they've got us back to the Doppler radar that we like to see. Unless you know where to go, there is a back way of getting to it, apparently. How are these bureaucrats allowed to keep their jobs after making these cost blowouts and delivering unsatisfactory results in the thing that they've spent $100 million on? Where is personal accountability for a bureaucrat? Well, you would say there might be some personal accountability in their honor and how they act in their job. Well, I'm sure there are some honourable bureaucrats, but I'm not seeing any evidence of them in Canberra anywhere at all. These people who make the decisions, who advise their minister to spend the money, the minister goes to cabinet, makes the argument that his department advises him must be made in order for them to get the funding that they need approved by the cabinet. And when all of that turns out to be lies, who's held accountable for the cost? Well, we are, the people, because we're the ones who had to pay it. Who's paying it back? Not them. What about if the bureaucrats and the government, the members of the government, all sides, had to pay it back out of their superannuation, or at least make reparations from their own superannuation accounts? Their own superannuation accounts that are, I think, 6 to 10 times better stuffed than anything yours or mine would ever be. Because when you're working in the bureaucracy and when you're working in that government space, you get multiple times the injection into your super compared to anything we would get. That's why these bastards cling to their shiny bum jobs, because they have millions in super that they're just waiting to get. They'll do their 20, 30, 40 years, hide all the secrets of every government. No problems, just let me get to my super. Well, what about if that super could be touched by the people? I'm not suggesting all of it gets removed, but I am suggesting there needs to be some form of recompense for the decisions these people make, whether that be in haste or it be in dishonor. Because God knows many of them are making dishonorable decisions and sending those to the minister with recommendations. I personally think it's probably more like the minister is making the dishonorable recommendations, telling the department what he wants them to produce, and the department is producing it. But we would need a whistleblower from the shiny bum department to come out and tell us that that's how it's working. Please do. Carl at vofhq.com. Love to talk to you. Yes, we can hide your identity. You might notice, maybe you haven't, I'm running a new microphone tonight. This one's a little white one. See that? So that means I'm plugged into some more equipment over the side here, which we'll start playing around with in the not too distant future. And through that equipment, I can make you as anonymous as you want to be. However, you must be for real. You must be able to prove what you say. And we're very keen to hear what you have to say. Very keen. In fact, I'm especially keen to look into the NDIS. I think others are very keen to look into the NDIS. We, I think, quite rightly believe that the NDIS is Australia's version of what the Somalis have done in America to the childcare and Medicaid systems. If you're unaware, in Minnesota, I think it was, a very large number of Somalis who are running childcare centres have been arrested and charged with significant fraud crimes to the tune of many, many, many millions of dollars. This is because there are no children at these childcare centres. There are just Somali men smoking cigarettes and hanging around. It's pretty weird, and that is a loophole that couldn't happen here in Australia. Had somebody ring and we talked about this, but Australian childcare funds are paid in a different way. So the same thing wouldn't be happening here in Australia, not in the same way at any rate. And it probably couldn't, given the way that childcare payments are paid out directly to the parents in Australia rather than to a childcare centre. What we do have, though, is the NDIS. And some investigation has shown already that Lakemba in Sydney is proving to be highly overrepresented with NDIS providers. Yes, Malcolm Roberts does always. They take these questions on notice, and very rarely, I think, does he get answers. I mean, he tries. God love him, he tries. But what do you do? And I said this to him the last time, maybe it was the only time I've had him on the show. There is no consequence to a bureaucrat who lies. There is no consequence if that bureaucrat sits in front of a senator or senators at Senate estimates under what is ostensibly an oath to tell the truth, and they lie, or they obfuscate, or they lie by omission. There has to be a consequence. That lying bitch that runs the Home Affairs Department, she's a smarmy, smug, Porsche-driving cow, that one, who swans around Canberra in her little Boxster Porsche, thinking there ain't no smell coming from me at any time. Well, the reek of evil and corruption is all around her. And the smarmy, smug face it puts on when being asked serious questions from our representatives in that place has to be addressed. Now, I think the last estimates committee where that cow showed her face was the most recent. And she was under a great deal of pressure, a great deal of stress. And she had her, I think, almost entirely female backup team there to help her. There are a couple of blokes in the Home Affairs Department, security types, but they're very, very subservient to her. And of course, being the head of the department, that's what it means. You'll be subservient. This is the attitude I see in so many of the women, sadly, that seem to be running these departments. Just goes on and on and on and on and on. And we never, ever get answers. It's quite sad. Will we ever find out the truth around Indian immigration? Well, I'm led to believe that Indian immigration is something that is being very highly promoted, particularly, funnily enough, in India. Have a look
Are
at
you
this.
in Australia on a temporary visa looking for permanent residency? This is a golden opportunity for you to apply for the same. Recent 189 invitations had plenty of carpenters, bricklayers and tile workers who got invited for 65 points. Queensland has a special pathway for building and construction workers. This financial year, you only need 3 months of experience to lodge 190 or 491 visa. For more information, contact Flyworld Migration Agents.
I'm not going to help them contact wherever it is, but there are pathways in Queensland for you with 3 months or less experience to get some kind of a working visa in the construction industry here. Now, that falls in line quite strongly with what I showed you a couple of months ago with the big call for bricklayers, construction workers, builders, carpenters, tilers, all that kind of thing, to make a rush to Australia because they want you to build 1 million homes in about 3 years. Of course, to bring 1 million more people here means the homes they build are going to be filled up by the people they bring here. It's not going to alleviate any kind of problem we're currently having. 916,330 subcontinental folks in the country as we speak. Well, I think our Department of Immigration may need to go and have a very serious look at what qualifications they have. Because in India, they have discovered thousands, tens of thousands of fake diplomas and fake degrees that have been issued to people who are not just trying to gain access to Australian residency, but to other countries around the world. They've found a black market that is producing these very high quality documents and passing them off as real to anyone who has the rupiah to pay for it, quite sadly. Those people are then being let into the country. I think probably shown a 7-Eleven video and an Uber video and pointed, out the door to their first credit opportunity, which would be to get into a franchise-style business if they have the money, or to get into an Uber vehicle, which will be funded for you. That seems to be the pathway at the moment. I would also wonder, and, I don't know if I'm being rude saying this, I also wonder what you would think if you were building a house and you had a crew of third world country builders who've just come to Australia, come to build your house. Is that the kind of job that you'd only check up on once a week, or would you be on site every day? That's coming. That reality is coming. And people are going to say, oh, you're racist, Carl. I'm not racist. I'm just pointing it out. We are bringing people with third world mindsets to a first world country. This extends to every facet of their lives, even though their lives are now very different and much more blessed in many cases than they were if they were living back home. Now, I saw an example in the last few days of this where a $79,000 Range Rover was pulled up at a food bank, and the two folks who were coming out and filling that car with food were not poor, not driving a $79,000 Range Rover and dressed the way that they were. No, they thought the food bank was just there because it's their right to access it, because that's what they've grown up with. To get food, you went to the bank and they gave it to you. That's how it worked. So we're bringing a lot of people into this country who already believe that we're going to provide free food to them through our food banks and associated other things. And we do. It's the kind of people we are. But what are they contributing to the country? What are they bringing and contributing to the country? Are they coming out and working on farms? Are they buying farms? I don't know. I thought the Chinese were the only ones buying our properties, but I could be wrong. We seem to be bringing in a whole bunch of people who have known nothing but crisis and welfare their entire life, or worse, no welfare. All they've known is crisis and crime. They've, in some cases, come from places where if they were walking down the street and saw the shoes that you were wearing were nice and they might fit their feet, they wouldn't hesitate to pull out a knife and threaten to cut you unless you hand your shoes over. Now, that's happening every day, today, in every one of our capital cities and many of our regional centres as well. How much more is it going to be allowed to go on for? When will there be consequences? And when will there be not just consequences for the perpetrators of these crimes, but where will be the consequences for those that made the decisions that allow it to happen? And then, as the evidence clearly shows in Victoria and the Victorian government there, they're not doing anything to prevent it. In fact, they're doing everything they can to aid it. Almost as bad as the UK. Almost as bad as the UK and Ireland, in fact, where at the moment, busloads of fighting age men are being brought in to England under the cover of darkness and being slipped into hotels all across the country. Who's bringing them in? NGOs. not government organizations who get paid by government to do things the government doesn't want to be seen to be doing. How much of that is happening here in Australia? Well, maybe we should ask the ISIS brides that Tony Burke refused to admit he had anything to do with bringing back into this country. It's pretty piss poor. The state of our nation is frightening. I hope many of you are finding it frightening. I hope that many of the normies that you know are finding it frightening, truly frightening. And I hope that you have the skills to bring them over to us, to say, hey, listen, while it's frightening, come over here with us. We understand it a bit more. We can help you make sense of it, or at least certain chunks of it. Come join us. Come unite. Enough of the divide. Had enough of the divides. Although I do plan on creating a fairly large divide, maybe another little round one in the backside of somebody at that imaging place tomorrow. It's going to be fun. A lot of fun. Please do remember to like and subscribe the show, folks. The lovely Aussie Sue always remembers to put that message up, and I very rarely remember to say it, but it is a very important part of what we're trying to do. If you get some value out of what we do here, just give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to be notified of when the next show will be. Should be 6:30 tomorrow night, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I'm trying to rally up a couple of people for a chat. A couple of new faces that you won't have seen before, but having a bit of trouble juggling them this early in the year. I think there might be some holidays still happening. So God love them. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But I am trying to get a little bit of that together for you. I'm also a little concerned about what's going to happen if I do get to go off and have my hand looked at. If I do have to go and have surgery, I'm going to need to put Vince in charge of the show again. And we all know how well you loved him last time, and I don't want to have to yell at you again. All right? It's just not on. So if Vince has to come on and look after the show, I expect you to encourage him. What was oh, yes. The Donkey Sanctuary. God love them, folks. Now, we might be at a crisis point with the Sanctuary. I need to speak to Sandy, who I will give a call to again tomorrow. But the Sanctuary will always be the Donkey Sanctuary. It will just be a matter of size and scale. We do not want to lose the, I think it's 300 to 400 acres that they currently have to run on. But if it needs to go, it needs to go, because at the moment there are over 100 donkeys that need care. And that means a feed bill and everything else bill that is in excess of $40,000 a month. And they live purely by donation as well. So what we try and do to play our role is run a little lottery. It only costs you $2 to be in it. We offer you $750 in return if we draw your name out of the computer. And if you don't get that, you might get a 1 ounce, well, 10 1/10ths, making up an ounce of silver in one of our Voice of Freedom holders that we'll send off to you if you are the second person drawn out. You got to be in it to win it. You can buy up to 20 tickets. I'm not sure exactly how many of them we've got left in this draw. I think last time I looked, there was about 300 or 400 left. So rush to it now and spend $2, get in the draw, and let's see if we can't give you $750. It might help with a few bills over the Christmas New Year period. And if you've got kids that are going back to school, I'm sure it'll help with uniform costs and all those other good things. So not only will it help you, the cash, or the silver right now, which is worth, if you go to Ainslie Bullion at the moment, I would say, if it's anything like I was looking at earlier today, you'll still be looking at about $140 for an ounce of silver. Yeah, there you go, 136.56. So that little 10 1/10ths is $136 worth of prize we'll be giving you just for your $2 donation. And a large portion of that will go directly to the Donkey Sanctuary to help feed those marvelous critters. Thank you for your love and attention today, folks. Remember, there is lots of opportunity to pick up cheap silver at the moment. I saw some advertised today on Facebook. I've seen some advertised on eBay. Remember what Black Sheep told us. And if you are going to go and buy this silver, you want to see them do this test. And in fact, I would want to do this test in front of them. Do not buy silver from anybody online if they're going to send it to you or anything like that. Please do not do any of that kind of shit. It is a scam. So this is how you tell if you are picking up some fake silver. You need a magnet. Magnets out of the back of mobile phone holders, that kind of thing, work quite well. But a good neo magnet, and this is what you see if you slide a magnet down the face of something that claims to be silver but actually isn't. See, just falls with gravity. There, right? Now watch what happens when you put the same magnet on a piece of silver. See how it doesn't fall with gravity? It falls a bit slower. So if you are going to go and buy silver off somewhere that isn't a bullion dealer, then make sure you've got a magnet. Make sure you've got another piece of silver in your pocket. Do the ting test so that you know you are not being ripped off. I personally wouldn't be going and buying silver off anybody on the side of the road at the moment unless it was scrap silver, and then I'd be looking up Rolly and saying, mate, here's a pile of knives and forks to go and scrap and turn into silver. But, yeah, I wouldn't be buying anything else off anybody online. I'd be going to a reputable dealer, particularly one like Ainslie Bullion, who've been around for over 50 years now. And they have great stock, as I said before. And people have asked me, what stops them selling all the silver that they've got in their unallocated vault? Well, honor is what stops that. The fact that it would be, I think, criminal as well if you hold silver or gold in their unallocated stocks at Ainslie and they wind up selling that out the door to somebody who wanted a gold bar or a silver bar, then that would be a significant problem. And there was another bullion company, a very large bullion company, that got caught doing that not all that long ago. And we're talking, the last 2 or 3 years. And it was a significant issue. It was brought up in Senate estimates. It was a significant issue. So, no, you don't need to worry about that with Ainslie in any way, shape, or form. Your unallocated store is your unallocated store, and there is always that weight that you own sitting there in your name. And should you decide to go in there and get it, they'll happily pull it out and give it to you. Be easily done. You don't need to worry about that, nor do you need to worry about supply in the future. At least in the short to middle term, there is no problem with supply. Michael is sourcing their silver from various parts of the world. Australia doesn't produce enough of it. So we get, as he said, Ainslie get what they can from Australia, as much as they can from Australia. But when there's a shortfall, they have to go overseas for it. Now that China is not selling silver back to the world, the options for where they can get it are a little more limited. But Michael has said there is no shortage of silver in the world. And what we're seeing now is the revaluation. And how long it stays revalued is anybody's guess. So, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But keep an eye on it, and if you are trying to use it to make money, you're going to need to juggle from gold to silver to gold to silver to silver to gold and back again. But it will, I think, pay some fairly significant benefits in the not-too-distant future. Now, the Waving Wonder is coming back on to wave goodbye. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for your love and support again this evening. It's been good. And folks, you go off and have yourself a great night. I'm just having a quick glance now. 77.97 US dollars is what the gold price is currently sitting at, making it at Ainslie $116.30 Australian. So that would indicate an $8 lift today in trading today for at least here in silver, here in Australia. I would say it's a little bit less than that in the American market. It's about a $5 day in the American market. That is, I think, reasonably unheard of in the bullion markets of the world. If it has been heard of before, it's heralded a very great change to the financial engines that have been surrounding it for years. Watch this space, folks. Some of those dickhead drivers on the road might be some of the people madly rushing to Ainslie Bullion to try and convert some of that paper money, gold and silver that they have, into real gold and silver. And if I held a whole pile of paper gold and silver, I would be driving like a dickhead to convert it to the real stuff as fast as I could. Have a good night, folks.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?
Let's ride!